I need an approval of the agenda. Need a motion for that?
I make the motion for the approval of today's agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. We'll move into length of service awards. Lauren Gedridge. Where you at, Lauren?
Right here.
Come on, young lady. Come on up here. Come on up here.
Lauren Gedridge began her career with the Metropolitan Commission on April 12, 2021, as the Engineering Project Coordinator. Lauren is a dedicated employee who consistently balances the best interests of Metcom along with those of the customer. She is a valuable and vital member of the Metcom engineering team and puts in 110% in everything she does. Her attention to detail is impeccable, and she is always one step ahead in keeping up with the yearly tasks such as permitting, approval statuses, and purchase order extensions. Lauren is a tremendous resource to Metcom due to her vast knowledge of the development process combined with her comprehension and experience on a varying range of topics, including contracts, construction process, and permitting. She has developed a strong rapport with the development community and other agencies. These positive relationships allow her to navigate the challenging waters of the development process while providing superior service to customers, while working alongside her fellow employees. Lauren is also a certified administrative professional by obtaining her Professional Administrative Certification of Excellence, PACE. This is a rigorous exam that covers topics from communication, project management, technology, and management. In her off time, Lauren enjoys spending quality time with her family, especially her nephews and nieces. She also loves spending time at one of her favorite places, Disney World. We congratulate Lauren on her 5 years with Metcom and thank her for all the work she does, not only for the customers of Metcom, but also the other staff members that she supports.
I know she's got some friends, so come on up here and stand with her and get a picture taken.
We'll do a group picture. Okay.
Yep, come on up here. Get a group picture.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
John Clear has 5 years. Where you at, John? Come on up. I know he's got some friends too, so y'all come on up too. John, ain't nobody moving.
Nobody
man.
moved.
What the heck?
Nobody moved.
We'll do a YouTube first.
I am.
All right. John Clear, also known as Mike, began his employment with the Metropolitan Commission on April 26, 2021 as a utilities building maintenance specialist. In this role, Mike quickly developed a strong understanding of all Metcom facilities and identified ways to improve them. Regardless of the issue, you can always count on Mike to step in and get the job done. Mike has been instrumental in maintaining both water and wastewater stations, as well as administrative buildings. He can often be found handling a wide range of repairs, from fixing roofs and doors to clearing fallen trees from fences. Essentially, anything that needs attention. Calls from the administration buildings are among his favorites, where he enjoys assembling office equipment, hanging shelves, painting, and assisting coworkers with various tasks. Mike is the kind of person you can call anytime. He'll be there, ready to help and willing to work. He takes pride in doing the job right the first time. He also serves as a mentor to grounds utilities maintenance specialists, ensuring they perform quality work and properly care for their equipment. A lifelong resident of St. Mary's County, Mike enjoys watching NASCAR races in his free time and has long been a fan of Rusty Wallace. He also enjoys spending time with his wife, Joan, and gathering with family for crab feasts. Around his home, Mike takes pride in maintaining his landscaping and keeping his vehicles, especially his Toyota truck, in pristine condition. Please join us in offering a warm and heartfelt congratulations to Mike in celebration of his 5 years with the Metropolitan Commission.
And then the good stuff.
Thank you, Mike. And we've got one more, Andrew Patton. I know you're out there. There he is. Hercules. Why would you call that man Hercules? I don't get it.
Andrew Patton, also known as Hercules, began his employment with the Metropolitan Commission on April 26, 2021, as a utilities maintenance specialist for maintenance. From his first day, Andrew was eager to jump in and help. He wanted to do everything: grab the tools, carry materials and equipment, unload the truck, and then complete the repair. His coworkers would joke, "Hey man, you know we're here to work too." It quickly became evident that this is just the kind of person Andrew is. Andrew assisted with repairs and upgrades to wastewater stations, consistently demonstrating a strong work ethic and a willingness to learn. On July 14, 2023, Andrew was promoted to Utilities Mechanical Electrical Technician. In this role, he continued to excel, rebuilding pumps, managing inventory, keeping the grinder pump truck stocked, and handling service calls. Andrew has also played a key role in training numerous maintenance specialists, teaching them how to diagnose, troubleshoot, and repair pumps and control systems. His calm demeanor and approachable nature make him an excellent teacher and mentor to newer employees. On August 30th, 2024, Andrew was promoted to Instrumentation Mechanical Technician. With his extensive knowledge of pumps, pump motors, and control systems, he was able to hit the ground running. Andrew helps ensure that pumps, electrical controls, standby generators, and equipment at water and wastewater stations operate reliably and efficiently. He can also be found assisting with work at the treatment plants. In his free time, Andrew enjoys watching his favorite football team, the Baltimore Ravens, as they chase a Super Bowl victory. He also enjoys spending time with his wife, Rachel, and their daughter, Maria. Their family will soon be growing with the anticipated arrival of twins. Andrew likes to fish, hunt, and take on projects around the house. Please join us in offering a warm and heartfelt congratulations to Andrew in celebration of his 5 years with the Metropolitan Commission.
Hey, Laura.
He's gonna stand in the back. Jeremy?
All one guy with that comment.
Good gravy.
Don't want you to feel left out, John. Just don't want you to feel left out. All right, everybody go, Hercules, Hercules!
With the chairman's permission and director's permission, if I could go off script for 1 minute. I'd like to recognize one of the hardest working people that we have here, who is retiring next Thursday.
What?
Really happy for all your retirement. Thank you for all your hard work. Mac Lawrence.
How many years you got, Matt?
Now's your chance.
6, 7. Don't go yet, guys.
Hey, don't go yet. Y'all go, you can go back there, but don't go yet, because we got a proclamation we want to read too.
Lock the door.
And Mac, how many years you got here?
2 minutes.
15. Run when you can.
No, I'm trying to get out of here.
Nah, Thursday, man, Thursday. One more week. We have a proclamation for Drinking Water Week. This proclamation says the mission of the Metropolitan Commission is to construct, operate, and maintain public water supply and treatment systems in a manner that is sustainable and safe for the Commission's employees, the environment, and the citizens of St. Mary's County. The Commission has been providing these services since 1964. The Metropolitan Commission is observing Drinking Water Week by recognizing that water is our most valuable natural resource, and drinking water serves a vital role in daily life, serving as essential purposes to health, hydration, and hygiene needs for the quality of life our citizens enjoy, and that tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. The hard work performed by the entire water sector, from designing capital projects to operators ensuring the safety and quality of drinking water, or to a member of a construction crew maintaining the infrastructure that communities rely on to transport high-quality drinking water from its source to consumers' taps. We are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which current and future generations depend. Whereas the Commission provides almost 1.4 billion gallons of clean, reliable, and safe drinking water each year to the residents of St. Mary's County, now therefore the Commissioners of the St. Mary's County Metropolitan Commission do hereby recognize May 2nd through May 9th, 2026. It says 7 on here, but I'm assuming that's supposed to be 6. As Drinking Water Week to bring awareness to young people, their families, schools, and communities. This date, April 23rd, 2026. I'll raise a glass from the Morley Taylor facility. Thank you for all y'all do from the office to the field. Much appreciated. And we did this one for next year too, so we've done 2 of them. Thank you guys and gals. Appreciate y'all.
Back to work.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it.
We all had a little something to do this game.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, it's 2-year rule. All righty, moving on. Need approval of the meeting minutes from the April 9th, 2026 regular session. I need a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes for April 9th, 2026 regular session meeting minutes as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Everybody get a chance to look at the consent agenda? I need an approval to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. So we'll move into new business, and Sean, you're the first victim on the plate today. Come on up. The 2026 county tax sales update.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is an informal item to update you on the final 2026 property sale tax result. As Metcom has first lien on the property, we work closely with the county treasurer each year as their office holds the official tax sale. The process started back in October 2025. Any account that was in arrears 6 months or more, they received a notice that the property was eligible for tax sale. Property owners are notified continuously throughout the process and offered the opportunity to request a deferral. The board had 0 requests this year. The owner has until the day before the tax sale to bring their accounts current. In your packages, I provided a graph there, for you to view. There's some bars there, and I will briefly go through each of them. The blue bar represents the number of properties that were notified, and if you can tell there's a spike up in the 2021 timeframe, and that was due to the COVID pandemic. The red bar represents the number of properties advertised to the public. And most importantly, the green bar represents the amount of properties that actually went to tax sale. We started off with 90 properties and ended up with 18 residential properties that actually went to tax sale on March 6, 2026. The total funds recouped was $52,416.27. Metcom takes great pride in working with the property owners who have delinquent accounts in an effort to avoid going to tax sale. And I don't have it up there, and I apologize, but a trend bar that George and I looked at, and if you notice the green bars, it shows the decline where they're actually going to tax sale. So we're closely working with the residents to make sure that we can do everything legally possible to prevent that from happening. And this year, we just had 18 going to tax sale. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
How many were probably repeats?
Great question. I don't know, but I can find that for you.
And do you know, like, for example, last year of the 10 or whatever that went to sale, how many did actually truly get sold, or did somebody rectify it and end up not being?
I can follow up because usually that information is on the property with the county tax.
I know it's a duration that happens after that or whatever,
Yes,
so I'm
6
just curious of whether,
Yes.
is it, are we only seeing 1% of it happen, or, that type of thing? So,
Yes, sir. I don't have it, but I will definitely find out. Yes, sir.
The property owner has a right to redeem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a period of a 6-month period after that. But
Yeah, just curious of whether after that 6-month window's done,
Yes, sir.
did it end up being only one, or did it end up being 9?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions, gentlemen? Number 2, Mr. Sean, looks like you again.
Yes, sir. So, Commissioners, you have an informational memorandum in your packages dated April 16, 2026. We do this periodically each year. We want to keep you updated with the Maryland Local Government Investment Pools and other post-employment benefits OPEB performances. For informational purposes, I bring to you today the 2025 fourth quarter reviews. As of December 31st, 2025, the Metcom invested funds in the Maryland Local Government Investment Pool had a balance of $1,052,591 in the trust account, which is an increase of $21,742 from the previous 2025 second quarter balance of $1,030,849. Metcom also has invested in the MACO Pool OPEB trust account as the commission provides health, prescription, dental, vision, healthcare benefits to eligible retirees, eligible retiree families, and family members of deceased employees as a single employer plan. These benefits are referred to as OPEB, other post-employment benefits. The trust returned 1.9% for the fourth quarter, trailing the custom benchmark at 2.1%. As of December 31st, the market value in the MACO account increased from the 2025 second quarter of $10,263,008 to $10,929,109 in the fourth quarter, which is a difference of $600,666 and $100. For your review in your package, I've also included additional portfolio highlights for the 2025 calendar year and fourth quarter. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I'm confused. What's the percent?
The
Number I
percent,
see at the end?
2.1%.
I see the number. What's it mean?
The number on.
What's the 2.1% mean?
Oh, that's the increase. That is the benchmark that they have over the overall trust. What if it's going up or going down? So that's what the 2.1% is overall.
How often do they change the benchmark?
Good question. I'm not sure how often, but I would assume probably.
I'm just looking, for example, the June 25 percentage is higher than the December 25 percentage, but the dollar value is lower. So
Yes, sir. I'm not sure how often they change it, but when I pull those numbers based on the bank account and also from the meeting that I had with the OPEB, the trust committee, those were the numbers. What I provided was just the quarterly that's on that tab that you
yeah,
see.
I mean that part's good. No issue there or whatever. I'm just curious
The benchmark.
of what we're trying to compare to. So.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I'm not sure how often that benchmark changes, but I'll find out.
Any other questions, John? Sean, are you number 3 as well?
Yes, sir. Well, you know it. This is the rate study. All right. Commissioners, today I bring to you a rate study services contract change order for a request of an additional $10,600. The original approved budget amount for the rate study was $48,750. The additional services that were performed by New Gen Strategies and Solutions, they're going to cause us to exceed that threshold of $50,000, and it requires the board's approval. Specifically, the $10,600 is for 2/3 of the rate study overrun reimbursement, which was $5,600, and the completion of activities, which includes the draft, the final report, and the model, which is an additional $5,000. The updated total of the final invoice is $15,962.50. The original one was submitted, and by no fault of my wonderful colleague, it wasn't her fault, it was mine. I left off the $5,000 for the additional piece that covered the draft, the final report, and the model. So in other words, the total services are going to exceed that $50,000 by an additional $10,600.
Why did it change from what the original was?
Additional services were requested, and specifically that was the draft, the final report, and also a run study overrun of requests that we had.
Any questions on them? There's a motion, if somebody would like to read it. Make the motion.
I'll do it. Move that the commission approve and increase the purchase order number 26-00182 in the amount not to exceed $10,600 to New Gen Strategies and Solutions LLC of Annapolis, Maryland for completion of the executed contract number 25-06-A.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
No, second that.
Motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, so moved.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Miss Christie,
All right,
how are you?
Christie.
You missed us for a while, didn't
I
you?
know it's been a while.
Sure.
Back. So before you, I have the Southampton Phase 1 and the MD 235 Southampton to Hermanville Road construction contract award. This is a joint solicitation, so this is a joint project we've been doing with the county that you guys have seen in some of our project updates we've done with the county. So we're rehabbing the water and sewer in this subdivision that was built in the 50s and 60s. And then we're also extending a loop from Southampton down to Hermanville Road. That way we can better serve the far end and back serve Southampton should a break happen between. The project was advertised through the county on November 13th, and a pre-bid meeting was held on December 8th, and bid openings was this March 5th. We do need a budget amendment to cover the full cost of the contract. The contracts came in a little higher than their estimates had shown. We think this is due to either what's going on in Iran and just the market not being as steady as we'd hoped. So those are included in the package as well. We basically closed out some old projects that were done, so we used funding from projects that were already budgeted. And we are using money that we have collected that's over and above what we estimated on our capital contribution charges for the sewer side. Happy to answer any questions.
So you say you're gonna run the, water line down to, where is that gonna tie in the townhomes on the end of Hermanville
Yes,
Road
that's
there?
exactly, yes, sir.
So they won't be on a tank system
Right,
anymore, they'll
they will
actually
be-
be on the main system, so.
Yep, so they'll have
I
better
assume
fire
that means
flow.
those fire hydrants
Yes,
will
all along the way.
not be 10,000 gallons anymore?
Right. Yep, it'll be tied into the greater Lexington Park system.
What's the estimated completion time, do you think?
About a year.
About a year?
So the one is significantly lower than the other two bidders.
So the low bid came in, the county reviewed that, and it was, they were deemed non-responsive as they couldn't show enough experience on projects of the same size and scope for the county work. So the low bid was thrown out by the county procurement reviewed all that.
Will the county reimburse us for that difference? Or could we use them?
No, so we signed an MOU or an MOA with the county. It outlines how awards go and all that. So we basically, it has to be awarded to the lowest total bidder that meets responsive and responsibleness. Theirs came in a little bit higher too, so it wasn't, we were all kind of hoping that the low bidder would work out, but fortunately didn't.
It's hard for somebody to get their foot in the door when they won't accept them because they don't have enough experience with
It
their
is
foot in the door.
difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah, especially with it being, 25% lower?
Yeah, they're talking,
That's pretty significant.
But then the two,
2.7.
and then the two,
$2.7 million.
yeah, the two that weren't thrown out were I think they were within $50,000 of each
Yeah,
other. So
exactly.
there's
50,000,
also some
500.
thoughts that maybe the low bid maybe had some issues within the bid as well, so. Because like you said, it was very significantly lower.
$2.5 million. Makes you question.
It sure does.
And
Tell
gentlemen,
me.
if you notice, this is broken up into two motions, part one and a part two, as it relates to two separate kind of,
Right, it's actually three projects broken up, so the water is one project, the sewer is a project, and then the water line connector is a separate project, so there's three lots that we'll be awarding contracts for.
And we've completed getting all the signatures from the homeowners and stuff in there, allowing us to
Yes,
finally.
and yeah, phase one, I think we've gotten all that we could, there may be a couple that we couldn't, but we can work around that, and then they're also currently working on the phase two, getting all the rights of entry for all that.
So what is the start time, you think?
We will be reaching out to set up a NTB date. So next month. I hope they'll be able to start soon. So it's Great Mills Trading Post. They're currently working on FDR. So they should be able to start. I would imagine relatively soon.
We're not anticipating any continuing jump in prices for force majeure or whatever.
I hope not. We're not. I believe the county was going to reach out and make sure that they were good with the pricing. I hadn't heard back if that was the case, but
They're going to issue a best and final, and in hopes that the chosen vendor would respond with,
Yes.
given the prices today, and the bids today, and the conditions that we know the economy is in today, we can still complete the project with our bid price. So they're going to secure that before the final award.
When you deal with these HOAs and you're upgrading something from these, did you say 59 when this started?
yeah, 50s, 60s. It's kind of all over the place. 80s. It's kind of it's been an ongoing.
Right. I'm just wondering if you ever get a, wow, thank you for doing this, or is there any
You're not
kind
gonna get it
of,
from Southampton.
Not very often.
not from there, but
So in Patuxent Park, there were people that were happy and there's people that are unhappy, and it's not fun to live through a construction site. So generally, I think once it's done, everyone's happy, but in the middle of it, it's always difficult.
Yeah, I
for
mean, it is to their
everybody.
benefit. You would think that
Sure.
as an association, you would get some sort of positive feedback, and just wonder if you ever did.
I
Yeah,
would say for those areas, you probably will get good feedback from people who actually own the houses in them, but unfortunately, those two.
there's a lot of
lot
rentals.
of rentals.
Those two
A lot of
particular
rentals.
are very high in the rentals and very low in people actually living in what they own there.
Okay.
And then the county, so in addition to the work we're doing, the county is also doing road work, so curb, gutter, sidewalks, stormwater management. It's gonna be very similar to what happened in Patuxent Park. It's gonna look almost like a brand new subdivision, at least the roads and the sidewalks and everything.
And we have to be
It
careful,
is.
commissioners, when we're getting easements, we get easements from the property owner, not the renter.
Right.
A lot of the property owners haven't lived there in years.
Right. I was gonna say, I'm sure that was a challenge.
Yeah, Kelly Jarbo and our project manager, Josh, went down there, knocked on doors. They did a big effort to get right of entry signed, so.
Okay, thank you.
So we got two motions, part one and part two.
And they're long, I'm sorry.
And they are long.
They are.
Nice. It's like a proclamation.
It
of
is
a
very
should
motion.
read
long,
that.
yeah, because there's the budget amendment that goes along with it.
Anybody would like to partake in one of those motions?
I would like not to.
What made
I'll
it
take
the first one?
Go ahead.
Or me do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Move that the commission approve and authorize the commission chairman to sign the FY 2026 budget amendments, BA number LB 260012 and LB 260013, which includes the realignment of funding as outlined on the request for budget amendment form, increasing the budget authority for the Southampton Water Revitalization Phase 1 project number 8201 WL in the amount of $990,673, and the Southampton Sewer Revitalization Phase 1 project number 8201 SR in the amount of $616,049 as recommended by staff. And further move that the commission accept and approve the award for lots 2A and 2B of the Southampton Neighborhood Revitalization Project Phase 1 solicitation for Southampton Water and Sewer Revitalization Phase 1 to Great Mills Trading Post Company, Incorporated of Great Mills, Maryland, with a base bid price of $2,594,973. I guess it's $2 million for lot 2A, and it's at $1,229,410.95 for lot 2B, as submitted in their bid dated March 5th, 2026, and as recommended by staff. And further move to authorize and direct staff to execute all documents relating to this award, including but not limited to all approved change orders.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you.
And we've got number two.
Move that the commission approve and authorize the commission chairman to sign the FY 2026 budget amendment number LB 260014, which includes the realignment of funding as outlined on the request for budget amendment form, increasing the budget authority for the Maryland 235 water main Southampton to Hermanville Road project number 8210 WL in the amount of $126,037 as recommended by staff. Further move that the commission accept and approve the award for Lot 3 of the Southampton Neighborhood Revitalization Project Phase 1 solicitation for the Maryland 235 water main Southampton to Hermanville Road project number 8210 WL to Great Mills Trading Post Company, Incorporated of Great Mills, Maryland, with a base price of $1,143,107.58 as submitted in their bid dated March 5th, 2026, and as recommended by staff. Further move to authorize and direct staff to execute all documents relating to this award, including but not limited to all approved change orders.
Does I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? I just have a stupid question, kind of off topic, but it's on topic. But is there anything in the future where they're going to tie that line in across 235 into the lines to the water tower that's down off the corner of Long Lane and Forest Park? Would that ever in the future be tied together?
Trying to think of where that is.
The back gate across the street from
I
Hennenville
don't
Road.
think we have, I don't think we have plans at this time to do that, no.
Which I didn't know if they were going to like try to close
Try to
the
loop
loop
it in.
there.
We have some
something like
other looping projects. I don't know if that's, I don't believe that's one of them. Not at this time. It's something we can look at for sure, though.
that. Just curiosity on the cap. So I got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? And it's so moved.
Thank you.
Good.
One other quick question is, knowing what you're seeing in terms of the price jump, are there other ones that are coming up soon that we probably need to reevaluate?
Yeah, so
a little
we
closer?
have the consent decree project. So we have the Piney Point Force Main, the Forest Run Pump Station, and the Piney Point Pump Station and Water Station. Before that goes out to bid, we always get a new updated cost estimate, as we did with this one as well. So we'll get them to look at that again when we get final plans in, to make sure we have everything covered.
And as a part of the FY '27 budget, we added for each one of those projects some additional contingencies in the project, about $250,000 in each one of them. We also have an 8% project contingency, which is 8% of the subtotal of all the sanitary projects. So between about $750,000 in contingencies plus that 8%, we think we'll be able to cover any increases that might happen between now and the time period.
It'd be nice to be able to just lock them in at this and say, look, it's your problem if it doesn't meet this. You bid it, you said it, you signed it.
Well,
signed it.
we presented to the county commissioners as well. One of the questions was why we chose to fund the consent decree projects with DHCD loans as opposed to MDE loans. Just to prove my point, I guess, we bid the St. Clement Shores wastewater treatment plant expansion in May. It was May 22nd of last year. It just went to the Board of Public Works yesterday.
Wow.
Try to hold your bids for that long.
Yeah.
The bid expires on May 7th. That's
Yeah, it
how
was
long the
close.
NDE process takes. The DHCD process takes less than 2 months. So you talked about locking in numbers.
Yeah.
We're much more able to lock in numbers when it comes to DHCD.
Yeah, and then when they come in, so say the award trading post, for example, if they come back in and say, that it's escalated in pricing, they have to prove to us that there was price escalation. We need to see, what they had at bid time versus what they're paying now. So we look at that to make sure they're not just making, not that they do, but. All right, I think we're done, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ed, you're up. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For your consideration today, I have 3 items. The first of which is the purchase of the awarding of the polymer contract for the Marley Taylor Water Reclamation Facility. At the Marley Taylor Water Reclamation Facility, polymer is used as a coagulant in the sludge treatment process. Specifically, polymer is utilized to chemically dewater and thicken sludge as part of the sludge thickening and dewatering processes at that facility. The facility has used polymer for sludge conditioning since 1984, when the facility first started dewatering sludge. Changes to the amount and types of polymer used at the facility have been based on process upgrades over the years. New treatment technologies as well, also, and improvements in the polymer industry. The ITB opening date was March 12th, 2026, and only 1 bid was received. As a side note, that there is 2026 legislation that is, I believe, at the governor's desk for his signature. And it does restrict the sewage sludge land application. Maryland has created a threshold of 25 parts per billion and 50 parts per billion for sludge application on farmland. If the PFAS, PFOA compounds are over 50 parts per billion, they have to be landfilled, disposed of. If it's over 25 parts per billion, there are options to mix it, and there's also restrictions on where you can apply that sludge. The good news is our sludge is about 0.7 nanograms per gram, which is parts per million, or parts per billion, I'm sorry. So we are certainly well under the 25 parts per billion threshold that Maryland has put forth. So we are looking pretty good there. However, that 25 parts per billion is from here on out. So hopefully we won't ever have to have a problem with that. Our PFAS, PFOA compounds actually were much higher in the years past. The base has significantly reduced, and I believe they have eliminated their AFFF, which was a big contributor to it. They have gone to another product. Since they have gone to another product, our numbers have really gone down. So with that in mind, again, the ITB was issued on March 12th. We did have a total of one bid. The one bid was because what we do require for the bidders, we do require the bidders to come on site and actually test their polymer to see which polymer performs best. Polydyne, who is the contractor that we are recommending, is the incumbent, and their polymer has actually performed best at that treatment facility over the years. So with all that in mind, therefore, staff is requesting board approval to award the contract, the polymer contract to Polydyne Incorporated of Riceboro, Georgia, for pricing submitted with their bid dated March 6th, 2026. And with that, I will take any questions.
So is the one bid because there's really only one that generally does this type of polymer?
We actually extended the invitation for different contractors to come down, but that was also the time where we had the 2 inches of ice on the ground, which is why we had to extend the contract, or not the contract, extend the test period. We did have another company come down, but they just could not compete with their. I mean, all the polymer, they are all proprietary mixtures and things like that. So they're very secretive about the actual mixtures that are in the polymer. Some work better than others. And in this particular case, Polydyne's polymer worked, very well.
Where does polymer come from?
Okay, so let's go back to my. It is a long chain carbon compound. So what happens is when you add it to the sludge, sludge prior to thickening and conditioning is basically a thick black liquid. What the polymer will do with these long polymerized chains of carbon, it'll actually negate the anionic charge or cationic charge of the sludge. So it will actually help the sludge settle out. So instead of having a jar of black liquid, you will actually have a jar with 2 clear phases in it. One will be the sludge on the bottom, the other one will be the clear liquid up top. So what it does is it basically breaks down that chemical charge that's in the sludge. It allows everything to thicken and settle out. So that's what polymer does. And that, I mean, it's a long chain polymer. It's a fairly complicated manufacturing process as they get those long polymerized chains.
Do we take any kind of readings coming into Marley Taylor, like knowing, I mean, I know we're not anywhere close to the 25 parts per billion or whatever, but do we take any readings at any
So
of
yeah,
it?
we have tested the influent coming in, and
But at different
with
locations?
MDE's, right, with MDE's blessing, the first round it was extraordinarily high. MDE basically called us up and said, what's going on down there? So what we then did is we actually split the domestic side and the influent from the packs, the influent. So we were actually able to isolate the 2 flows, influent flows to the plant. By doing that, the domestic side was basically, it was a non-detect level. On the base side, it was a little higher. I don't think it ever reached 25 parts per billion. I think it was maybe 7 to 10 parts per billion. But that was around the time that they were phasing out the AFFF. So this was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Once they phased it out, like I said, our numbers have really dropped, almost to non-detect. I think you'll still have a lot of those numbers in there, just because people use the non-stick spray. I mean, that's there's PFAS compounds and those sorts of items as well. So you'll always have some negligible amount.
But are we still like periodically taking readings before it gets to it?
Yes, we are.
And Ed's pretty nonchalant, I don't mean that negatively, about the PFAS testing and everything. We're well below the established thresholds. We land apply, I think it's around $54 per ton, but the landfill is 120 a ton. So if we were ever to exceed those limits for any extended period of time, we're talking about a $355,000 impact.
Well, that was sort of the purpose of my question was if we ever get into that situation that we have enough information to discuss with who's ever supplying that to us to help us with that cost.
One of the things that MDE would like to see is that if that does occur, if those levels do go up, they want to see the producer foot those bills for disposal. They don't want to see the end user, because we don't produce it.
Right.
We just have to receive that stream, and we have to treat whatever comes to us. So MDE at the state level, they want to see the I won't say the manufacturers, but the producers of all these PFAS compounds. Now, they want to be, MDE wants them to be held responsible for ultimately the high cost of treatment and disposal for these compounds.
But we have the cart before the horse.
Understand.
We've got our 25 to 50 parts per billion parameter before we.
Well, the good thing is it sounds like it wasn't necessarily a ridiculous request or lock-in for us in terms of being able to manage it. So
it just worked out. We were also one of the few entities that volunteered to do some PFAS testing before it was a requirement.
Yeah.
They asked us if our facilities could serve as a test site, and we agreed.
And we've tested our drinking water side, we've tested our treatment side. Drinking water is non-detect because all our drinking water from this area comes from the aquifers. And once the base did move away from the AFFF, like I say, our numbers are good.
does that mean that we've had reduced amount of polymer we need to use?
Not necessarily, because the flow rates are still the same, and the sludge production is still the same. We average about 4,400 or 44 dry tons of sludge produced a year, so it really hasn't changed.
Do other wastewater treatment plants, like down at like Naval Research Lab down there, White Plains, I guess, I don't know if that's DC or Prince George's County, do they also dispose the same way, or do they take to landfills, or do you know?
I believe DC Water for Blue Plains, I think they have a Class A sludge facility there. Well, Class A sludge, we produce Class B sludge. Class A sludge is basically, you take that final Class B sludge that we produce, and they heat it up and they basically cook it and dry it. And once it's Class A sludge, that can then be land applied. I don't know what their PFAS levels are. In one of the meetings that we have had with MDE, they threw out the number. It takes about, I think it was $1,000 to create a pound of PFAS. I think it costs like $17 million to treat that same pound. So the treatment process is very expensive, and it's a challenge for this industry across the board, because it's not just the treatment; it's the extraordinarily low levels. When the PFAS issue first started coming to light, they were talking about initially parts per trillion, parts per quadrillion concentrations, which is extraordinarily low. So it's going to be a challenge for years to come. Like I said, luckily our numbers are fairly low.
I know there was a product called Compro that was made from the sludge of waste treatment plants. I wonder if that ever expanded to the point where you could go to Lowe's and buy a
In
bag
fact,
of.
I think there's a product called Milorganite, which comes from the city of Milwaukee, and that's Class A sludge that's been heated and dried and sold to the public.
We're also having a Class A sludge study done this year to see if we can convert and what the cost would be to convert our Class B to Class A.
I think with all the farms out here, they'd be happy with that. As a sales side of it.
I know some people that put it on their gardens, but they got an excessive amount of tomatoes. Imagine that. I'll go no further on that
There you go.
conversation.
'Cause there's like 3 of them kind of in the, there's the one there at Blue Plains, but there's also one down there in Norfolk, and there's one somewhere up north, I don't remember, whatever, because when we used to do some of our projects, we'd have to try to ship them to one of the 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So when we're looking, there's a couple that we should look at.
Thank you.
Anything else, gentlemen? There's a motion.
I can read this one. Move that the commission accept and award the polymer contract number 26-07-F to Polydyne Incorporated of Riceboro, Georgia, for unit prices submitted in their bid, dated March 6, 2026. Further move to authorize and directed staff to sign all documentation related to this contract award, including but not limited to all approved change orders.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Having a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? It's so moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. Second item here is the Cross Connection Control Contract Award. In July 2009, following state and federal mandates, METCOM adopted a Cross Connection Control Program, the requirements of which follow guidelines primarily from the American Water Works Association and the American Society of Sanitary Engineers. The purpose of the program is to provide initial and periodic site surveys of METCOM's commercial water accounts to determine the degree of backflow hazard associated with the occupancy of the building, type of water use fixtures, and hazardous substances used in the building. Since 2011, METCOM has used contractors to perform site surveys of commercial establishments and for containment of water backflow and administration of the Cross Connection Control Program. Presently, this program continues and will continue in the foreseeable future to meet regulations. As a little bit of background, there are about 794 commercial water accounts that are tracked within the Commission's public water system. Of these, about 124 are identified as high hazard and the remaining are low hazard accounts. High hazard are any medical facilities, car maintenance facilities, or tall buildings. So those are considered to be a high hazard account. So therefore, staff is recommending board approval to award the contract for Cross Connection Control Survey Management Services to Hydro Designs Incorporated of Troy, Michigan. And just as a kind of a side note here, I do give a typical Cross Connection Control Program update in the June or July timeframe as well. So we'll be kind of going into that program a little bit more in depth at that time. With that, I'll take any questions.
There's one place I read in here where it says residential meters already have the backflow installed in them.
The residential meters already have backflow there. They have a check valve in the meter crock, in the meter pit.
Right.
So if something happens, they have their hose in a bucket of pesticide or something, and there's a water main break out on the street, it will not suck that pesticide into the water system because that check valve is incorporated into the meter setter.
That kind of eliminates the ones you screw on the hose bibs then? See a lot of new construction with them on there.
When we look at the Cross Connection Control Program, we look at the public water system.
Right.
We look at the source water at the wells, we look at the public water system. I highly recommend using the air brake backflow preventers on outside spigots because as that check valve is in the meter pit, there's nothing that really protects the private property side. So if there were a break, on the private property side, you have a hose hooked up to the spigot, you have it looped into a bucket of pesticide. If something happens to flush a toilet or use a lot of water in the house, it's possible that within the house, that'll get sucked up into the house. So we highly recommend using that.
Keeping them
on
then,
the
okay.
personal side, yes.
Okay,
But the cross connection control program looks at the public water system.
gotcha. Thank you.
Any further questions? Have a motion?
Move that the commission accept and award the cross connection control survey and management to Hydro Designs Incorporated, DBA Hydro Corp of Troy, Michigan, for pricing submitted in their bid dated March 31st, 2026. Further move to authorize and direct staff to sign all documentation relating to this contract, including but not limited to all approved change orders.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? It is so moved.
Thank you, Commissioners. Last item up is the purchase of diesel-powered backup pumps for wastewater stations. In the event of a mechanical or electrical failure, the commission-owned wastewater pump stations are equipped with either diesel-powered pumps or diesel-powered backup generators. When these unanticipated events occur, the permanently mounted sound attenuated diesel powered pumps maintains the station wet well level within normal operating range. These pumps serve a necessary tertiary backup as required by MDE regulations for wastewater stations. The recommended purchase is for 2 replacement in-kind pumps. Both are over about 22 years old, and it also comes with the recommended service kits. The 2 stations that we are requesting these pumps be for are Kingston, which is up off of Route 4 North, that area in there, and Westbury, which is located in Lexington Park. Kingston does about a little over 1 million gallons a day of flow. Westbury does a little over 2 million gallons, so they're both fairly sizable stations. So we are recommending that the purchase of these pumps go to Xylem for 2 sound attenuated diesel backup pumps. And with that, I will take questions.
What do we do with the old pumps?
The old ones are pretty much at the end of their life. These are exercised monthly. And sometimes when we do have power outages or we take the station offline for various reasons, they'll get a lot of hours. So really the pumps themselves are really honestly at the end of their life. So they'll just be disposed of at auction.
Should we bring them down to John's house and drop them off?
How often would you say we actually use them? I understand they exercise them,
In an emergency situation,
I just like you know how many
Maybe-
hours?
maybe once or
how many
twice.
hours they have per year, roughly?
in an emergency situation, we may use them once or twice a year. In a more of a maintenance situation where for some reason we have to take the pumps out or do some rewiring or do some electrical work at the station, it's probably 3 or 4 times a year. So you're looking at probably maybe 100 hours a year.
You said there was a tertiary requirement
Right.
for, could that be on some mobile thing that the tertiary could apply, that we could use them in?
So that's one of the
more than
things
one
that
location?
we have talked about in the past. And what happens is that when especially for Westbury, when you're doing about 2 million gallons a day, if the pumps go down for some reason or if there is a power outage for a while, mobilizing staff, having staff go get the mobile pump, having to hook everything up, fire everything up. Although it wouldn't take long, it would take long enough for those stations to overflow, especially at those flow rates. So having a mobile piece of equipment really in this situation doesn't really work. NDE also requires, when we build and design these pump stations, they require a primary and a backup pump. They either require a secondary power source, which is the emergency generators, or they require a tertiary pump, diesel powered pump. So those are the requirements. We have tried to kind of ask NDE if they would loosen that requirement, and some of the recent ones, they have absolutely said no. I mean, it is supposed to be hard piped at that station.
How many pumps do we have like this? I mean, we're replacing two right now.
We have about 11 pumps that are actually hard piped into the stations. We have 2 mobile pumps that are used for maintenance at the treatment plant. We have 1 based on the northern treatment facilities. We also have 2 mobile small pumps, the 4-inch and 6-inch pumps that the maintenance department uses.
But in terms of other ones that are getting close to their life cycle, I mean, do we have half of them, or most of them fairly new, or?
They are of the 11. I would say maybe half of them may be getting close to the life cycle. There for a while, we were installing about 2005 to maybe 2012. We were installing the diesel backup pumps instead of the generators, and that was just really a design choice at the time. What we have found is that if we lose power, the diesel pumps work fantastic. However, if you have any staff who's going to these stations, and if there's no power, there's no station lights, there's no SCADA at these stations. So since then, we have moved away from using those sorts of pumps at our stations.
I was just curious in terms of budget
I think
projections.
there is a caveat there when we have the bigger stations like Great Mills, when it's over a certain size and there's no storage, that they do require not only a emergency power backup, but they also require a tertiary pump with it as well.
Any other questions? There's a motion. Somebody would like to,
I'll do this one. Move that the commission accept and award the sole source procurement of 2 new diesel-powered backup wood pumps to Xylem Dewatering Solutions of Chevrolet, Maryland, for pricing as submitted with the quote dated March 19, 2026 and April 10, 2026. Further move to authorize and direct staff to sign all documents relating to this procurement.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second that.
So I do have one other question just popped up in my head. I'm looking at these quotes. It looks like it's 2 different generators. Is one just more powerful than the other? Is that why?
Well, they're 2 different stations. They are 2 different stations. One station's, like I said, does about a little over 2 million gallons a day. So the pump size is a little bigger. Kingston is a little bit smaller. So the one was 46 and one's 58. So there are 2 different sized pumps.
I just was curious. I understand the flow is different, but I also know that they're doing a lot of construction over there off of Myrtle Point Road down there. Thinking about the future, would it benefit us to put in the bigger pump station,
So
or the bigger one now as opposed to the
I'll
smaller?
put on my Christie hat for a second. If that is the case and there is development, Christie will probably stand up and say, you guys got to upgrade the pump station. So that's on the
That'll be-
developer.
yeah, exactly. It'll be the cost of the developer to
Yeah.
upgrade anything
Oh,
if they
okay, I
put
got you.
additional flow in.
Understood.
Yep.
Okay. I just see that they're steadily putting stuff on that road there, so.
There's a lot of little things popping up.
A lot. Okay, so we got a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Ed.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
George, good afternoon.
As a follow-up to our April 7th meeting, there's also an informational memorandum in your packages dated April 14th. For a couple of months now, we have been in negotiation with Senrev. Senrev is Verizon's internal leasing organization regarding a possible buyout of 2 of our existing cellular tower leases and a possible reassignment to an organization called MD7, who is a global wireless operating leasing organization. The 2 existing cellular leases in question are shown on attachment A. They're highlighted. One is on White Elm Court, in Wildwood, adjacent to the St. Mary's County Airport, and the other one is off of Long Lane, which is adjacent to Pax River MAS. Using the terms of both leases and the built-in rate increases, we believe that Metcom could benefit strategically by negotiating a lease buyout and investing that money to earn investment income at about $32,000 a year. In the memorandum, you'll also note that if both leases were extended to the year 2050, that an initial consideration of $846,000 may be beneficial to the commission. And by 2050, we believe that our interest income compared to the lease income would be in excess of $300,000, we'll have $325,000. So for reasons cited in the memorandum and as discussed back in April, what we're requesting today by motion is that you authorize myself and our legal counsel, Mr. Beaver, to continue to negotiate with Verizon and return to the board with a letter of intent, which would be an informal, non-binding agreement between both parties with a dollar amount that is negotiated, and also with a recommendation to use that money either for investment purposes, to assist on the operating budget side, or for other reasons. And we'll come back with several recommendations for you at that time. It really is just a follow-up with some additional direction from our last meeting. And there's a motion in your package.
Any questions, gentlemen? I do have a motion. Somebody would like to make the motion? Any meeting item?
I'll read it. Move that the commission authorize the executive director and the legal counsel to negotiate a letter of intent that includes the valuation of the lease purchase without the additional space provisions and to return to the board for final review and approval. Further, move to request the executive director return to the board with a strategy to invest the monies in a dedicated and fairly liquid reserve account for possible future operational use, i.e. special purpose fund for litigation or other emergency needs.
Second.
Got a motion, I got a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item. Good afternoon again, Commissioners.
Continuing business now.
We bring to you a formal follow-up to our April 7th meeting and the public hearing that was held in this room on the 14th at 6 p.m. So first in order is congratulations. We're almost at the end of our FY27 budget journey. Today we're returning with some post-public hearing considerations and recommendations following the joint meeting with the County Commissioners on 12th of May. You should be in a position to approve both the operating and capital budgets at the regularly scheduled meeting on May 28th. It appears that we met all the goals we established way back in October when we started this budget process, and is reflected on this slide that we presented to you back in February. And by now, the board is probably tired of seeing this slide that you've seen over and over again. At our February 2026 meeting, we established a $20.6 million target baseline budget, which was our working subtotal, which you can see in the middle of the page. Following the addition of a COLA, a 2% COLA, and a 2.7 merit, it brought our baseline budget subtotal up to $21.1 million, which was only 2.5% above FY26 approved budget, which is very, very good. We also decided to go into the public hearing with a reserve between 1% and 2%, and we selected 1.5% to go into the public hearing. So that was the budget, how it was formulated going into the public hearing. What we bring to you today are the follow-up discussions. We only have 3 topical issues. The first one is our transition into the rated study model. The second is the disposition of the public hearing reserve. The third is some identified needs for allocating the reserve that we're suggesting and recommending that you do into several operational accounts in the 2027 budget. The next slide, we toyed on whether or not to include the next two slides because they may be more confusing than not. They were more an internal way of tracking what it was we were doing at the time. There is no action on this topic, it's just informational only, so don't let the busyness of the slide upset you. We felt that the consultant's recommendations were a little bit too aggressive, so we worked with the consultant to come up with a transitioning idea, which would be something between the recommendation that they made for 2027, which was shown in green, and the transitional rates that we came up with in yellow. We worked back and forth with the consultant, and they wrote back to us and said that the transitional idea is not expected to have any material impact on forecasted revenues. Additionally, this approach could help smooth rate changes over time and allow for adjustments as needed, which is an added benefit of the methodology. So in short, they made recommendations to us. We read those recommendations. We looked at them. We felt they were a little bit too aggressive. We came up with different numbers, and they said, that was a really good idea. That's it in a nutshell. Those were the rates we presented to you on 4.7, and even before that, they're the same rates we took to the public hearing. The short version of this slide is the Tier 1 use charges, which represents about 75% of our customers, are proposed to be $1.98 per 1,000 gallons of water use. That's only a 2% increase, or 4 cents over the current rate. It's actually 2 cents less than what we proposed in 2027. Likewise, the Tier 2 use charges, which represents 22% of our customers, are proposed to be $3.50 per 1,000 gallons of water, which is a 10% decrease over the current rate, and 50% less than projected for FY27. So we get concerned when you see small increases and large decreases, but when you look at the percentage of the customer base that you're capturing in each one of those flows, it all works out to be cost neutral and still supports the budget. On the sewer side, which we didn't show here, the proposed usage charge is $6.29 per 1,000 gallons for sewer use, which is a 54-cent increase, but it's 50% less than we projected would be this year. In addition to that, and included in the rate structure, was a 9.1% reduction in the non-metered water rates and a 5.4% reduction in the non-metered sewer rates. Where that comes from is we actually did a multi-year review of all of our actual flows from each one of our neighborhoods. And the actual average use for residential customers was around 6,000 gallons per month. And what we did, if you're a non-metered customer, we thought that 7,500 gallons per month as a non-metered rate was a little bit high. That was an old rate that was established based on an EPA guesstimate. We chose to use St. Mary's County actual residential use based on our billing records. We thought that was more appropriate. It ends up resulting, again, in a small percentage decrease in the non-metered rates, which I think will be well received by our customers. As a reminder of our new structure, I'll be really brief here. The first tier, which again is 75% of our customers, represents all the users that use between 0 and 5,000 gallons per month. The next tier is 5,001 gallons to 10,000 gallons per month. Captures your typical peak household use. Summer times, you wash your cars, you fill your pools. It captures that group. The third tier, which is our intermediate tier, is 10,001 to 20,000 gallons per month. That introduces a stronger price signal because you're starting to become a high volume user, and we need to sort of start discouraging that. Once you start using 20,000 gallons or more, that to us represents extreme amount of discretionary use, and that's when it becomes excessive. That's when we send our letters to customers asking them to reduce their use if they can at all possible. So our new structure is fair, it's equitable, it's defensible, and it's better explained probably in slides 16 through 18, which we included in the back of your packages. They're the same slides you saw at the last two meetings, and actually the same slides we placed into our public hearing presentation to help us explain it. Next item is a Commissioner Dugan special, is an informal slide. Commissioner Dugan asked, and rightfully so, what are some of the other folks seeing in terms of rates and charges? It was harder to find out because everybody is in the same state we are in terms of their budget. The county commissioners just had their first public hearing last night, I believe. Many of the other organizations are in the same boat, but as you can see from this slide, nationally, water and sewer bills are outpacing inflation by 5.1%. Charles County is proposing an 8% increase and then a 10% increase in sewer fees in '27. WSSC 9.5 is seeing large numbers. We're not in those same orders of magnitude. I found out last night that Alexandria just completed a rate study. Their sewer rates are proposed to go up 20% for FY '27 and then another 20% over the next 2 years because they're in an extreme financial deficit. By way of comparison, the average monthly residential water bill in Maryland is $54, with sewer charges at $67. Metcom's current FY '26 estimated water bill for a typical residential user is $37.20 for water, $66.6 for sewer. That includes the system improvement charges as well. So we're a little bit under Maryland's national average, and certainly we're not seeing the same numbers as our sister counties and surrounding jurisdictions. So I feel pretty good about the budget that we've proposed this year. No action is required, it's just informational. Our public hearing reserve, we did want to talk about that. There is no action on this particular slide. This one is just informational as well. It's fairly self-explanatory. For the last several years, the board has established a public hearing reserve, which by default becomes the board's operating emergency reserve following the public hearing. We still believe it's a prudent measure each year. However, the need to retain the reserve as an emergency reserve is not really necessary, as the board purposely maintains by policy an operational emergency reserve which exceeds our policy limits. So we already have a separate emergency reserve. For FY '27, there are identified uses for the public hearing reserve, but for future years, if no identified needs are identified following the public hearing, we might suggest the board approve a budget less the public hearing reserve amount, as funding the reserve does impact the corresponding rates and charges. So if you have a $300,000 reserve and you don't use it, if you have a $400,000 reserve, as we did last year and we didn't use it, your rates and charges are still funding that reserve. And if it's not being used, there really is no point in it. So our recommendation, I think, in the future would be to have a 1 to 2% public hearing reserve if there are no identified needs at the end of the public hearing. When you approve your budget, you would be approving a budget that was less than the budget that was taken in public hearing reserve. Makes the board look good, and it also is just smart on the business side. We do have some recommendations though this year. Our public hearing reserve is $316,747, and of course, at the end of this exercise today, we're recommending that all of that public hearing reserve be allocated or reallocated within the 2027 budget as presented at the public hearing. I'm going to try to go over these in less than one sentence, each one of them. We talked about the FAMLI Act. That's the Time to Care Act. It is a state mandated requirement. It requires 1.2% of salaries to be set aside to provide employees with an additional up to 12 weeks paid job protected leave. Working with the county, there may be a possible deferral through what's called the MACO Consortium. We might be able to push that until January of 2028. That's a question mark at this time. The current law says this is going to be implemented as soon as January 1st, 2027. So what we're suggesting is that we budget a half a year of that impact, which is $47,000. So that's the first takeaway. Our power costs, I hate to say that our power costs are around $1.2, $1.5 million each year. $640,000 for water, about $950,000 for sewer. It's the second largest operating budget component that we have. Just a reminder, we've got 8 treatment facilities, 75 wastewater pump stations, 55 water pump stations, 62 wells. They all require electricity. That doesn't even include the buildings. It's a lot of electricity. We do operate most of the pumps during off hours, especially when we refill our towers. So we do as much as we can. We have no solar power. We've had solar power consultants come to our facilities. There's no way that those solar power panels can generate enough to operate a wastewater treatment plant. The best we can do is maybe power the emergency lights in the exterior of these buildings and maybe some interior lights. So we haven't made that investment. Our anticipation, based on the budget that we have, is an additional 6%, and that's reflected in this use here of $208,000 of our emergency reserve. Our general and property liability insurance, our actual expenses in 25 were around $400,000. We just spoke with Legit on the 24th of March, and they advised us that there would be an 11.2% increase this year. That fiscal impact is around $42,000. OPEB, we see the first reduction, which I'm sure you're glad to hear, as opposed to continued uses of the reserve. But where we can find reductions, believe me, we try to find them. OPEB, we budgeted $203,000 as a payment. We're only required to pay the actuarial amount, which we just received that information. It's $158,000. So that would be a reduction. Maryland State Pension, increase from 11.9 to 13.52%. Not that much of an increase. We planned on 10% and we got 13.5%. So that has an impact to us. Long and short-term disability, we are going with another provider. Thank you, Anne Mary. I wish that number was 80,000. It ends up being only 8. It's still a reduction, and as I said earlier, if we can find a reduction, we'll find a reduction, and we'll propose that to you. It's about 8,000. Our wastewater parts, there was a request from staff to increase the parts by $13,000. We don't think that's unreasonable. Hospitalization, we spent about $1.4 million on hospitalization in FY25. We were just advised that our hospitalization is going to be 6%. Last year it was only 2.25%. We reflect 4% here, somewhere in between. We don't think it's going to be 6. I'm not going to bank on 2. So 4% is about $43,000. And then there's $40,000 worth of, I won't go through all the accounts, where $100, $150 here or there would be actually something beneficial. Most of those are general accounts, such as supplies and materials. The other $40,000 could also be expended on stipends for the commissioners. Unfortunately, we don't determine what that amount is, and that comes from the county commissioners. And ironically enough, they select the board, and most board members don't know this. County commissioners select volunteer boards and commissions, but it's that volunteer board and commission that pays the actual stipend. We also responded to Commissioner Dugan's question. I think we sent it around to all the board members about why W-2s are not issued. I hope that explanation was satisfactory. Next steps, as far as remaining schedule for both.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
So, only because I can't find it or whatever, but so in terms of the proposed medical costs, both for the staff and for all we're paying into the retirement group, what is that number percentage that we're
For
in terms of kind of the cost increase, like that we?
You mean hospitalization?
No,
Or-
just in terms of what our side of what the different insurance companies are charging us for medical costs.
Well, we,
Thinking the company portion versus the employee portion?
Yeah.
Oh, we pay
85. It's
I know the percentage, but how much more are we seeing it go up?
So I just got the rates, what is it? Some of them went up, some of them went down, some of them went up 2% and some went down.
well, I've got it. I've got that. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. So medical rates increased by 2%, dental rates by 4%, and vision did not increase.
Okay.
It's kind of small.
I know it's somewhere there. I just missed it.
It's written kind of small. I thought you might ask that question, so I didn't bring it with me, but I actually put it on the slide under hospitalization.
And George, the Medicare rates went down.
Medicare went down. Okay.
The Medicare rates went down.
You know what percentage that was?
It was like 1.9,
Wow.
like the Medigap. So
Right.
With respect to next steps, our public comment period ends on the 25th. We'll be back in front of the county commissioners on May 12th at a joint meeting. Commissioner Gould, I have some opening remarks I'll email to you. You can get back to me if you want to change those. And on May 28th, following the joint meeting with the county commissioners, again, you'll be positioned to hopefully approve both the operating and the capital budget. There is a motion in your packages, and it's also shown up on the screen. Would you like to make the motion?
I have a motion, gentlemen. Would you like to make that motion?
I can read this motion. Move that the commission authorize staff to incorporate the proposed rate changes into the fiscal year 2027 operating budget as presented in a public hearing held on April 14th, 2026, in accordance with Section 113-27D of the St. Mary's County Code. Further move that the commission authorize staff to allocate the public hearing reserve into the FY 2027 operating budget as discussed on April 23rd, 2026. Further move that the commission authorizes staff to finalize the FY 2027 capital improvement budget and the FY 2028-FY 2032 plan for final approval on May 28th, 2026 as discussed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussions? Anybody show up to the public hearing?
Christie and Sean and myself and Rick. Rick was an instrumental part of that.
If I knew there was going to be a party, I'd have came.
We also, we do a couple of other things. We include a note in the bills. We post notice on our website about the public hearing. We also have a phone line in case there are folks who are infirmed or otherwise can't get here. We open the phone line for 10 to 15 minutes and allow folks to call in, and we got no phone calls either. We also set up a completely separate email address that's budget2027@metcom.org, so it doesn't get confused with email traffic, and we've received no emails to date.
Well, that either means people don't care or people are real happy with the service.
Let's go with 2.
That's right.
We didn't raise our rates enough.
There you go.
We'll have to work on that for next year. So we got
But
a
hopefully
motion.
that's good information as far as what everybody else is doing. Again, for the tier 1 which is 75% of our customers, it's only going up 2 cents per 1,000 gallons.
Great. Y'all did a great job with that.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody from tier 2 is going to call. Not when they see
Tier
their
1 or
reduction.
2.
Yeah, reductions.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any nays? So moved.
Thank you very much.
George, thank you and your team for working this budget. I know it's a large task that takes up 3/4 or better of the year.
Absolutely.
Before you have to get right back into it again. I couldn't do it.
Sorry you had to sit by the phone and nobody called.
Yeah. I'll call next time. I'll call just to be social.
You gonna sing that one?
I'm sorry.
So, future agenda items, anything else? I'm sorry.
That's it.
Future agenda items, we do have the joint meeting with the commissioners of St. Mary's County, May 12th, 2026 at the Chesapeake Building up in Leonardtown. And, it's right next to the control center, for those that don't know. 9 o'clock, am I correct on that? 9 o'clock, thank you. I'll be there. And our next tentative meeting for May will be May 28th, 2026. Commission members' time? Anybody got anything? Again, I just can't emphasize enough how great of a job y'all do with this budget and everything else that y'all do.
We enjoy it.
So, yeah, I'm sure you do. Sure you
You see
do.
Sean he's just so ecstatic. He loves it. Number crunching.
The first one wasn't a
He's
good
been
one.
pulling his hair out. He's been pulling his hair out over it the whole time.
Getting better. What hair?
He's gonna get to finish his first year cycle there, so.
So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. Somebody like to make that motion, please?
I'll make the motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll move into an executive session. You. So we're back out of executive session. Any motion on anything? I'm sorry, I missed that. All I need is a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So be it. We're out.
Thank you.
We'll get those tax sale questions